On a foggy night, the traveling circus arrives, bringing more than lights and laughter. Performers vanish mysteriously, and a ghostly figure haunts the big top. Scooby and the gang quickly sense an ancient curse tied to buried secrets among rival magicians. But who is behind these eerie appearances? And what price will the circus pay for the truth to come to light? The night air was thick with a damp chill as Scooby, Shaggy, Velma, and Daphne pulled into the outskirts of a small town. A flickering neon sign read, "The Spectacular Midnight Circus, one night only." The caravan looked charming, yet something about it felt off, like a shadow lurking just beyond the spotlight. The carnival music echoed faintly, but no crowds gathered, only silence broken by distant whispers of the wind. "This place gives me the creeps," Shaggy muttered nervously, clutching his ever-present sandwich. Scooby snorted in agreement, ears twitching as the wind stirred the canvas tents. Velma adjusted her glasses, eyes sharp and alert. "I've been reading about this circus. Apparently, performers have been disappearing without explanation for weeks now. The locals call it the Phantom Circus because of ghost sightings." She flipped through a crumpled flyer. "It's all very strange. If we don't check this out, who will?" Daphne frowned but nodded. "It's up to us to solve the mystery. Let's get inside before it gets any darker." The group approached the main tent. The heavy entrance flap creaked ominously as they stepped inside. Inside was a scene frozen in eerie stillness, empty seats under dim, flickering lights, props left scattered on the dusty stage, and a faint smell of old smoke and popcorn lingering in the air. No sign of the usual laughter or applause. Suddenly, a chilling breeze swept through, carrying with it a whisper, almost a voice, that sent shivers down their spines. "Did you hear that?" Daphne whispered. Velma shook her head, focusing on a worn poster pinned to a wall. The poster featured two magicians locked in an intense stare, beneath the headline, "The Great Alaric vs. The Marvelous Morrow, a rivalry that tore the circus apart." Their faces were blurred, as if deliberately obscured. Shaggy gulped. What kind of rivalry would cause a whole circus to fall apart? Before anyone could answer, a distant crash echoed through the tent, followed by a hollow laugh that seemed to come from nowhere. Scooby's tail stiffened as the flickering lights went out completely, plunging them into darkness. "Let's stick together," Velma said, pulling out a flashlight from her bag. Its beam cut through the shadows, revealing a figure in white, translucent and glowing faintly. Drifting just beyond the edge of the ring. Scooby growled low. "Ruro." The ghostly figure vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind a cold silence that pressed on their nerves. "We're definitely not alone here," Daphne said, voice tense. Velma nodded grimly. "This is just the beginning. Whatever's haunting this circus, it's tied to that rivalry, and to the missing performers." As they moved deeper into the maze of tents and trailers, the sound of footsteps echoed behind them. But every time they turned, there was nothing, only shadows dancing in the flashlight's glow. "Who's there?" Shaggy called out, his voice cracking. No answer came, but a whisper floated in the cold air, "The show must go on, or else." The gang exchanged wary glances. The circus was more than just a mystery, it was a trap. And the clock was ticking before the final act was played. The gang pressed forward, the eerie silence now replaced by the occasional creak of old wood and the distant jingling of circus bells. The tent seemed to close in around them, shadows twisting with every flicker of Velma's flashlight. Scooby's paws patted lightly on the dusty ground, his nose twitching as he tried to pick up any scent of the missing performers. "Okay, team, we need to split up to cover more ground," Velma declared firmly. "Shaggy and Scooby, check out the food stands. Daphne and I will look near the magician's tent." Shaggy groaned but obeyed, dragging Scooby toward a row of faded stalls. "I swear, man, this place is haunted for sure. But maybe if we find some snacks, I can forget about the ghosts." Scooby gave an enthusiastic bark, clearly motivated by the mention of food. Meanwhile, Velma and Daphne crept cautiously toward the magician's tent. The entrance flap was partially open, revealing a dimly lit interior cluttered with dusty crates and strange props. On a makeshift table lay a worn leather-bound journal. Velma's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "This might hold some answers," she whispered as she flipped through the fragile pages. The journal belonged to Alaric, the magician from the poster. Its pages detailed a bitter rivalry with Morrow, accusations of sabotage, and cryptic references to a curse unleashed on the circus. Daphne frowned, her voice low. This feud wasn't just professional jealousy. It sounds like they were playing with dark forces. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed nearby. Velma snapped the journal shut, and the two ducked behind a stack of crates. A tall figure passed by, cloaked in a dark coat, but the face was hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat. "Did you see that?" Daphne breathed. Velma nodded. "Someone doesn't want us digging around." Back at the food stands, Shaggy and Scooby stumbled across an old popcorn cart, toppled over and covered in cobwebs. Near it, a torn piece of fabric caught Scooby's attention, part of a performer's costume. Shaggy picked it up carefully. "This must belong to one of the missing artists," Shaggy said, his usual bravado replaced by a nervous edge. A sudden cold breeze whipped through the stalls, extinguishing their lantern. In the darkness, a faint glow appeared, then a whisper, "Leave before the curtain falls." Scooby growled softly, pulling Shaggy back toward the main tent. As night deepened, the circus revealed more of its sinister secrets. The rivalry between Alaric and Morrow was more than just old history, it was a dangerous puzzle, and the missing performers were caught in the middle. The gang was closer to the truth, but also deeper into a web of deception and danger. The shadows stretched longer, and somewhere beyond the tents, a soft, mournful melody began to play. The circus' final act was approaching, and no one could predict how it would end. The mournful melody lingered in the air like a ghostly echo as Scooby, Shaggy, Velma, and Daphne gathered near the magician's tent once more. The atmosphere was tense, every sound seemed amplified, every shadow a potential threat. The faint glow from Velma's flashlight barely cut through the thick darkness. "We need to find that melody's source," Velma said, her voice steady but urgent. "It might lead us to the missing performers." Shaggy scratched his head nervously. "Yeah, but I don't want to get caught in some magical trap or whatever." Scooby let out a soft whimper, sensing the danger. Daphne scanned the tents with narrowed eyes. That rivalry between Alaric and Morrow, what if the curse is tied to some forbidden trick? Maybe one of them summoned something they couldn't control. They followed the haunting tune toward a secluded tent decorated with tattered velvet curtains. As they approached, a flicker of movement caught their attention. A shadow darted behind the tent. Velma's quick thinking shone through. "Wait here," she whispered. She circled around, peeking through a gap in the canvas. Inside, she spotted a figure hunched over a small table covered in cards and strange symbols. The figure's hands trembled as they traced a pattern, whispering words in a language Velma didn't recognize. Suddenly, the figure stopped and looked up. Velma gasped. It was a young woman with haunted eyes, her costume torn and dirty. "Who are you?" Velma asked softly. The woman's voice was barely audible. "I'm Elena. I was Morrow's assistant. When the curse took hold, I tried to stop it, but I failed." Daphne stepped forward cautiously. "What happened? What is this curse?" Elena's eyes filled with sorrow. Morrow was desperate to win the rivalry. He sought a forbidden spell to bind the circus's magic. But the ritual backfired. The curse trapped the spirits of those who vanished, including Morrow himself. Shaggy shivered. "So the circus is haunted by people who can't move on." Elena nodded. "And if we don't break the curse soon, none of us will." Suddenly, the tent flap ripped open. A shadowy figure appeared in the doorway, blocking their escape. Looking for answers, are you? The figure sneered. You should have stayed away. The gang tensed, ready for whatever was coming next. The figure blocking the tent's entrance stepped forward, the dim light revealing a mask half covering his face, a grim smile painted across its surface. His eyes glinted with menace. You don't know what you're meddling with, the masked man warned, voice low and dangerous. This circus is cursed for a reason. The past isn't ready to be uncovered. Velma tightened her grip on the journal she still held. We're not leaving until we find out what's really going on. The performers are missing. People are scared. We can't ignore that. The masked man laughed, a hollow, chilling sound. Brave words for a group of outsiders. But this isn't a game. The curse protects secrets that could destroy more than just this circus. Daphne stepped forward, her voice steady but firm. Then help us break it. We're not here to harm anyone. For a moment, the masked man hesitated, his eyes flickering with something unreadable. Then he removed the mask slowly, revealing a weathered face marked with lines of sorrow and regret. I am Fabian, he said quietly. Once Morrow's closest friend, and now the guardian of the curse's secret. Shaggy gulped, whispering to Scooby, Guardian. This just keeps getting worse, huh? Fabian's gaze hardened. The curse can only be broken by confronting the truth hidden beneath the illusions. You'll need more than courage, you'll need to face the darkness Morrow unleashed. And the betrayal that started it all. Velma nodded thoughtfully. Tell us everything, Fabian. We want to help. Fabian looked away for a moment, then sighed. Long ago, Morrow and Alaric were not just rivals, they were partners. Their friendship ended in a bitter betrayal during the most important show of their lives. Morrow's forbidden spell was a desperate attempt to reclaim what he lost, but it backfired, cursing the circus and trapping the souls of its artists. Daphne's eyes widened. So this rivalry wasn't just professional jealousy. It was personal, and deadly. Yes, Fabian agreed. The curse feeds on fear and secrets. Unless you unravel the truth behind the betrayal, the missing performers will never be free. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed outside. Fabian's expression darkened. They're coming. The ones who want this secret buried, permanently. The gang exchanged tense glances as footsteps approached rapidly, shadows gathering outside the tent. The air inside the magician's tent grew thick with urgency as footsteps thundered closer, echoing like distant thunder. Fabian's eyes darted toward the entrance, the weight of years pressing down on him. We don't have much time, he said, voice tense. If they catch us, the truth will die with us. Velma glanced around, her mind racing. There has to be a way to break the curse. Elena's journal mentioned a ritual, something to undo the spell Morrow cast. Do you know anything more? Fabian nodded grimly. There is a ritual, but it's dangerous. It requires confronting the spirits trapped by the curse and retrieving a relic, the Phantom's mask, that holds Morrow's essence. Only then can the curse be lifted. Shaggy swallowed nervously. Confronting spirits. Relics. Man, I just wanted a quiet snack. Scooby whimpered, clearly unsettled by the ominous plan. Daphne stepped closer to Fabian. Where do we find this mask? Fabian hesitated. It's hidden beneath the big top, inside the chamber where Morrow performed his final act. But the place is a maze of traps and illusions designed to keep intruders out. Velma's eyes sparkled with determination. Then that's where we go. We can't let fear stop us now. Suddenly, the tent's entrance flap ripped open, revealing shadowy figures clad in dark cloaks, the curse's enforcers, loyal to keeping the secrets buried. Fabian drew a small dagger, his hand steady despite the danger. We'll have to fight our way through. The gang braced themselves as the cloaked figures advanced, the circus's twisted magic swirling around them like a storm. In the chaos, Velma caught a glimpse of Elena, who appeared pale but resolute, stepping from the shadows to join the fight. Her knowledge of the circus's secrets might be their only hope. As they battled through the maze of illusions and dangers, the gang realized the curse was more than magic. It was a web of betrayal, fear, and desperate hope. But even as they pushed forward, a chilling realization dawned: someone within their ranks might be hiding a secret that could unravel everything. Beneath the shimmering lights of the big top, the gang navigated the twisting corridors of the hidden chamber. The air was heavy with the scent of dust and forgotten magic, shadows flickering like restless spirits on the cracked walls. Velma led with steady resolve, clutching Elena's journal as a guide. "We're close. The Phantom's mask has to be here." Fabian's face was grim. "Once we retrieve the mask, the ritual begins. But beware, the curse will try to stop us at every turn." As they reached the heart of the chamber, a ghostly apparition materialized, Morrow's tormented spirit, trapped between worlds, his eyes filled with anguish. "You seek to undo what I began," Morrow's voice echoed, trembling yet powerful. "Why disturb the past that binds us all?" Daphne stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. "Because the truth deserves to be free. Because your friends and the performers deserve peace." Morrow's ghost hesitated, pain flickering in his gaze. "The betrayal. It shattered everything. I sought to fix it with magic, but only deepened the wound." Velma raised the journal. "We want to end the curse, but we need your help." Slowly, Morrow's spirit extended a translucent hand, revealing the Phantom's mask glowing with ethereal light. Fabian stepped forward and took the mask carefully. The chamber trembled as the gang prepared the ritual. Elena chanted the ancient words, her voice steady and filled with hope. Suddenly, a hidden figure lunged from the shadows, one of their own, consumed by fear and desperation to keep the curse alive. A tense struggle ensued, but the truth emerged: the betrayer was none other than Fabian, tormented by guilt and loyalty. With a heavy heart, Fabian stepped back, his face a mix of regret and relief as the ritual completed. The Phantom's mask dissolved into shimmering dust, and the chamber was bathed in radiant light. The curse unraveled like a fragile thread, freeing the trapped spirits. Morrow's ghost smiled, finally at peace. "Thank you, for breaking the cycle." Outside, the missing performers reappeared, bewildered but safe, their smiles lighting the night. Scooby barked joyfully. "Ruro, mystery solved." As dawn broke over the circus grounds, the gang gathered, their bond stronger than ever. Daphne sighed, "Sometimes the darkest magic is the pain we carry inside." Velma nodded. "And only by facing it can we find freedom." The circus, once a place of fear and shadows, now gleamed with new life, a testament to courage, truth, and the power of friendship.